Hey there, fellow Americans. Let's talk about Social Security. It's that thing you pay into now, hoping you'll actually see some of it back when you're older. And there's been this buzz, this rumor, about a potential $4,700 payment hitting your account. Sounds great, right? Like finding a 20 in your pocket, but times 100? But hold your horses, buckaroo. This isn't some lottery win. It's a symptom of a much bigger issue. This whole $4,700 thing, it's not a done deal. It's tied to the cost of living adjustment, or COLA. Basically, it's supposed to help your Social Security payments keep up with, you guessed it, the cost of living. The problem? The cost of living is doing this crazy upward climb like a cat stuck in a tree. Meanwhile, Social Security benefits are struggling to keep up, like that same cat trying to claw its way back down. Alright, let's break down this whole Social Security shebang. It's a bit more complex than it seems at first glance, but don't worry, we'll make it simple. First off, it's not just one thing. It's a whole system with different parts designed to help people in various stages of life. It's like a three-headed bureaucratic hydra, except instead of breathing fire, it sends you checks. Each head has its own purpose and rules. Head number 1, Social Security. This is the big kahuna, the retirement fund for most Americans. It's what most people think of when they hear Social Security. You pay into it while you work, and you get money back when you retire. It's a safety net for your golden years. Think of it as a forced savings account, except the government holds the piggy bank. You contribute a portion of your earnings throughout your career. And when you hit retirement age, you start getting monthly payments. It's designed to ensure you have some income even if you didn't save enough on your own. Head number 2, Supplemental Security Income, or SSI. This one's for folks with limited income and resources, often due to a disability. It's a lifeline, providing that extra bit of cash to help make ends meet. It's not just for the elderly. Younger people with disabilities can qualify too. It helps cover basic needs like food, clothing, and shelter. It's crucial for those who can't earn enough to support themselves. And finally, head number 3, Social Security Disability Insurance, or SSDI. This one's for those who can't work due to a disability. It's like Social Security's cooler, more supportive sibling stepping in when you need it most. If you've worked and paid into Social Security but become disabled, SSDI has your back. It provides financial support when you're unable to work, helping you maintain some level of financial stability. Got it? Good. Because understanding this mess is the first step to fixing it. Knowledge is power, and now you're armed with the basics of Social Security, SSI, and SSDI. Social Security, it's older than sliced bread, older than microwaves, heck, it's even older than the modern Olympics. We're talking 1935, folks. The Great Depression had the country in a chokehold. People were struggling, hurting, desperate. FDR, the guy on the dime, decided to do something about it. Thus, Social Security was born. It was revolutionary, really. A safety net for the elderly, the vulnerable, the ones who needed it most. It was a promise. Work hard, pay your dues, and we'll have your back when you need it. But times change, don't they? The world of 1935 is long gone. We've got smartphones now and the internet and self-driving cars that still manage to crash. What hasn't changed? The need for a strong Social Security system. Section 4. Keeping up with the times. COLA and its impact. Let's talk about COLA, baby. No, not the sugary beverage you guzzled as a kid. We're talking about the cost of living adjustment, or COLA for short. It's like the index that tells you how screwed you are by inflation. You know, that pesky thing that makes everything more expensive year after year. See, every year the price of everything from gas to groceries to that weird artisanal cheese you like seems to go up. It's not just a feeling, it's a fact of life. That's inflation, the sneaky thief of your wallet. It creeps up on you, making your hard-earned money worth less and less. COLA is supposed to be the superhero that fights back. It's designed to help you keep up with those rising costs. It bumps up Social Security payments to try and keep pace with those rising costs. It's like getting a little extra boost to help you out. It's like a game of whack-a-mole, except the moles are bills and you're armed with a slightly bigger paycheck. You try to knock them down, but they keep popping up. Problem is, COLA doesn't always hit the mark. Sometimes it's just not enough to cover the rising costs. Sometimes it's too low, leaving seniors struggling to afford basic necessities. It's a tough situation for many. And sometimes, just sometimes, it's potentially going to be a whopping 10.5% increase, which sounds great on paper, leading to that eye-popping $4,700 figure. But even then, it might not be enough to fully offset the impact of inflation. Section 5, Raining Money, a history of one-time payments. Remember that time the government decided to play Santa Claus and hand out free money? Yeah, it's happened before. It might sound like a fairy tale, but these instances are rooted in reality. Not often, mind you, but in times of crisis, our elected officials sometimes remember that we, the people, could use a little help. These moments are rare, but they leave a lasting impact on the collective memory. Take the Great Recession, for example. It was a time of widespread financial turmoil. Back in 2009, the economy was in the toilet. Businesses were closing, and the job market was bleak. People were losing their jobs, their homes, their minds. The stress was palpable, and the future seemed uncertain. So, what did the government do? They had to act fast to prevent further collapse. They sent out stimulus checks, a cool $1,200 to most taxpayers. It was a significant move to inject some life back into the economy. Then there was the COVID-19 pandemic. Remember that whole mess? It was a global crisis that affected everyone. Lockdowns, masks, sourdough bread baking, yeah, good times. People had to adapt to a new way of living almost overnight. Anyway, the government, in its infinite wisdom, decided to throw some more money at the problem. They knew people needed support to get through the tough times. Stimulus checks, round 2, this time a whopping $1,400 per person. It was a lifeline for many. Now, I'm not saying these one-time payments were perfect, far from it. There were plenty of criticisms and debates about their effectiveness, but they did provide some much-needed relief to struggling families. For many, it was the difference between making ends meet and falling into deeper financial trouble. They were a lifeline in a sea of economic uncertainty. These payments, while not a cure-all, offered a glimmer of hope during some of the darkest times. Section 6. The price of survival, Social Security in the midst of inflation. Here's the thing about getting older. You get wiser, you get more distinguished, and everything gets more expensive. It's like the universe's cruel joke. Right now, we're living through a time of sky-high inflation. Gas prices are through the roof, groceries cost an arm and a leg, and even pet food is getting ridiculously pricey. It's tough for everyone, but especially for those living on fixed incomes, like many seniors relying on Social Security. Think about it. You're retired, living on a budget that was probably tight to begin with. Suddenly your monthly expenses are through the roof. That's the reality for millions of seniors right now. So yeah, that potential $4,700 bump from the COLA, it's not a bonus. It's not a windfall. It's a matter of survival.